one of the myths in my book is we need more people of color in leadership. Let's launch a mentorship program. So I really caution companies. I feel like anytime there's a problem, retention, recognition, let's do a mentorship program. And sponsorship is very different. So sponsorship might look like the following. I'm going to give a very concrete example. Let's say I'm a senior brand manager running a, part of a beauty portfolio. And my boss says to me, I'd like for you to look at the investments that we made in media in the last year and do an analysis for the division to see what the investments look like. Did they pay it off? Okay, so that's a great example of a project my boss gives me, and I'm just going to sit and work on it. It's going to be great. But what if I actually stop to look up and think, who else in the organization might be interested in this project? Probably the CFO, probably someone from finance. And depending on the size of the company, you might not have access to the CFO, but you might have access to the VP of finance or director of finance. So what if I set up a meeting, Shweta, with you, or the, let's say, CFO? And I said, oh, I just wanted to get together, wanted to let you know I'm working on this analysis, and presented it to you. You might start asking questions, you might get curious. And then let's say you say, come back to me in 4 weeks. I have some more questions I want you to address. I go back in 4 weeks, and then you say, hey, I'm having a team meeting. Do you want to come present at my team meeting? Do you see how I'm slowly building a relationship off of the work versus me just setting up, let's have coffee? And then what's eventually going to happen is we build a relationship off the work. Is that if you are the person, now here's what I say about sponsorship, you have to be at least 2 levels above me in my organization. You have to have a pretty big budget. You have to have access to talent and also be in the room when talent decisions are being made. Because ultimately what I want to have happen is, other than my boss, because we don't always get along with our bosses, right? Let's be honest. I want someone else in that room who's going to advocate for me, who's going to sponsor my career. And that's how it looks differently. And I can talk to anyone and sit down with them in an organization and help you try to figure out who could be sponsoring your career. The last thing I'll say is, this isn't like a friendship bracelet. You don't go up to someone and say, can you be my sponsor? That's not how it works. You strategically think about who else would be interested in your work other than your boss, and get them interested in it and get them to feel like they're co-creating it with you. Because then I promise you, when the doors are closed and they're talking about Mita, Shweta's going to be like, oh yeah, she did this fantastic analysis. She should definitely be up for that promotion. Here's all the things I've seen come from her.
I do feel like the sponsorship is a two-way street. I mean, there was a paper that we put out with Phoenix that really talked about, the importance of sponsorship. For women of color, it is very much, yes, we need the sponsorship. We also need like LPs. We need the C-suite to actually step up and open those doors for us.
And there's a famous story. One of the CEOs of Deloitte, former CEO of Deloitte, went around to C-suite and asked individuals who they were sponsoring. And then he did the exercise again and said, you all have to pick 2 individuals to sponsor who are not in your direct division and also who don't look like you, and really challenge yourself. So the thing that leaders don't understand, and I talk about this in the book, Sylvia and Hewlett wrote an amazing book called The Sponsor Effect. All about the fact that you shine, I shine. The number one job of leaders is to create more leaders. And so if you were a leader, imagine you're sponsoring 5 women of color. Imagine your legacy of how you want to leave that company and who you're helping build. And so that's when you think about exactly, because who doesn't want to sponsor? Everybody wants a sponsor, right? But really to challenge the leaders in the C-suite to ask them, who are they sponsoring and why?